Thanks to everyone who have subscribed. If you have not, please do. And thanks for coming out here. I really appreciate you. Hello, my people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today's news is quite interesting because one of the northern governors has taken a bold step to start something that will have a lasting impact in the north. Not just in the north, he has started, and we want to trust that other governors in the north will follow suit. Is regarding the Almajiris, and that is Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State. Let's get all to the news and get all the details. We will jail parents who enroll children into a Almajiri system. Now, the Almajiri system is this system where especially male children are left to a clergy to teach them on Islamic studies. Yes, so these children are just sent there. Supposed to be like what we do in the West or in the South, where you send children to boarding house, but there you go to visit them, you provide provision, you give them, so they have adequate care. You give them, there is accommodation like hostels, there is food, you pay for food. So these children are well looked after, there is good security. They go home when they should on holidays. So this is the system we have in the South that, is working and is very effective and good. But what happens in the North is that when parents have children as young as 5, sometimes they just enroll them in these Islamic studies, and these children sometimes don't come back home until they are young adults like 18, 20 years, and they just take them there with the very clothes they are wearing, no food, nothing, no provision, nothing whatsoever. So this clergy have no relationship, no emotional ties to these children like a father would to a child. So what he does is that when he has time, he teaches them the Islamic studies and leave them to go on the streets and fend for themselves. Most often and known, there is no adequate care for them. Nobody counts the number of children that returns. Sometimes, and most especially, some of these children are abused, emotionally traumatized, even sexually abused, and some die in the whole process. Some just a little, injury that a child will have, and the mother will look after to avoid getting something like tetanus, and that child can recover fully, can kill some of them. Harsh weather conditions to mention but a few. The whole COVID-19 exposed that this system is a failed system, and the northern governors should look into it critically. We want to say to Buhari, you are a failed government because you have not done anything in this regard. You have been there since 2015 and nothing has been done. Yet you are from the north. What you are promoting is violence, allowing the Fulani headsmen, that you should have declared terrorists to go into other lands. When you came in, instead of you to address Almajiri, what you were looking at was Ruga. Can you see the mindset? So let's get all the details. What El-Rufai has started implementing. Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State has warned that parents who enroll their children into the Almajiri education system stand the risk of being persecuted and end up in 2 years jail term. El-Rufai stated this in Kaduna on Monday when he visited some 200 Almajiri children repatriated from Nasarawa State and undergoing rehabilitation and optical screening at Government College Kurumi, Masa in Kaduna. Almajiri children were enrolled to be taught Islamic knowledge under Islamic clergy, but who litter on the streets with bowls begging for alms and food. The governor also said that any Islamic clergy who enroll any child in the Almajiri system will also be persecuted and jailed, as well as fined 100,000 to 200,000 per child he enrolls in his system. He said that all the Almajiri people repatriated from other states of the country were indigenes of the state, adding that the government will give them all the opportunities they deserve to grow and develop. El-Rufai expressed satisfaction with the ongoing transformation of the Almajiri pupils from hopelessness to hope and confidence. According to him, the state has a responsibility to give them hope and a better future. We will therefore continue to take delivery of every Almajiri pupil indigene of Kaduna State to rehabilitate them, treatment, enroll them into formal school. Finally, somebody is speaking. Finally, nearest to where their parents live. We will continue to do this until we clear Kaduna of the manic of Almajiri system, which is not education. This is Erufayo, a proper Islamic person, a proper Muslim speaking, because some will capitalize on it that is politics and all that. It has not worked. It's a failed system. When Goodluck Jonathan came, he built 154 schools, intending that what has been practiced in the south, where we call boarding house and we send children to school, should be implemented in the north. Guess what? The northern governors frustrated him and called off his bluff, telling him they don't care. They practically abandoned the project. Their own is now in power. We're talking about the person of Muhammadu Buhari. He has not looked in that regard. All he's doing is to bring in, is to tell the nation he's fighting Boko Haram with no head. Little Chad here, Chad that Nigerians support, dealt with Boko Haram for 2 weeks. They bled. Nigeria, it has become political. Let's leave that issue for another day and continue. We will continue to do this until we clear Kaduna of the manic of a Almajiri system, which is not education, but the abuse of the privilege and future of a child. Our ultimate goal is that they should acquire formal education without depriving them the opportunity of proper schooling. They can get Islamic studies if they want. They will continue with Islamic, but they will go to proper education and have proper education close to where their parents live. So somebody can have an eye on them and oversee them. We will make sure this is done. He expressed that the Ministry of Human Service and Social Development, MHSSD, along with the UNICEF, will closely monitor them and ensure that no child will leave his locality until he finishes primary and junior secondary school. The governor stressed that every child in Kaduna State must get 12 years free compulsory primary and secondary education. Those that cannot proceed to senior secondary school will have the opportunity to go on vocational school also free. As such, no parent has any excuse for his child not to go to school, Erufai stated. He thanked the MHSSD and other state agencies for their commitment and passion to the welfare of these children. Also speaking, Hajia Hasif Babla, Commissioner of the MHSSD, said that the state has so far received more than 900 Almajiri pupils from Kaduna, Bauchi, Plateau, and Nasarawa states. Babla and other no fewer than 500 of them were rehabilitated, treated. Those who tested positive for coronavirus have been isolated, and those who did not has been reunited with their families. She added that 400 others were still undergoing rehabilitation and will soon be reunited with their families. On his behalf, Dr. Zik of Feed Office UNICEF Kaduna commended Kaduna state government for the efforts to ensure that all pupils go to school as against begging on the streets. Ahmed retreat, Ahmed commented UNICEF continued support to the state in all children's related issues such as child protection, education, and health, among other areas, for uninterrupted growth and development of every child. He stressed the need for all stakeholders, the government, civil society, parents, committees, religious and traditional leaders, and the media to work together to ensure that the children are adequately and given quality education. Finally, one sane person from the north is speaking, because this is something that has gone on for far too long. Nobody is speaking in that regard to come up to say what is going on is wrong. Call a bad thing a bad thing. Everybody has been keeping quiet as if it's good. It's not their fault because their children are adequately cared for. They school abroad, go to the best of schools. If they are schooling in Nigeria, the school fees is enough to build a mansion, to mention but a few. But these children, they want to suppress them and make them consistently and continually depend on them. That's why they're not giving them education. For if they become educated, they will not depend on them. So that independence, I'm telling you, these are the worst set of people. They are worse than the colonial masters. Yes, in the 21st century, where even the government of Nigeria is insisting, with mouth, so that children should go to school. They are girls, they give them out for marriage. Look at the 17-year-old girl that they pushed into marriage. That girl should be finishing secondary school and looking forward to studying like medicine, political science, to become a lawyer or something that will rule Nigeria tomorrow. What did they do? They pushed her into marriage. And when the man approached her in the night for sex, she thought that it was not, she does not know what that means. And she stabbed him to death, thinking he was trying to defile her. And guess what? When they were even questioning her, she was crying and saying, when do I go home to my parents? A child, to mention a few evil that goes on in the north. Anyway, my people, what do you think? Don't forget to thumbs up for us, like us, share, subscribe. Click on the notification button so you can get all our latest news. God bless. Have a good day and bye for now.